I think your mother just completely relaxed.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
She was just tight as a spring, wondering, who is this person? What is he going to do? Our life is going to change. I'm not ready for this. I'm not used to this. I'm not sure I want to do it. Well, it was a pretty circuitous route. What happened was we had visited my in-laws, Michael's stepfather and mother, in Visalia, and he happened to mention that a new assisted care living facility had opened in Visalia, and they thought he was thinking about going and visiting it. Well, this was news to us.
Mm-hmm.
We were rather shocked. Well, it kind of started a bunch of actions on our part. We got back. There was a woman that went to our church who her specialty was geriatric care and bringing seniors together with services. And I said, we don't know that much about senior living here in Fresno. What can you do? And so she put me in touch with another gal who sent me brochures on the various assisted living facilities here in Fresno, even arranged a tour that we took of one of them. And then she happened to mention, and we were looking at money, obviously. How are we going to pay for something like this? And he, being a veteran of World War II, he was already on a very small amount check for partial hearing loss from that conflict. And so he had never applied really for anything sizable, veterans aid and attendance. And this gal, her name is Kathy Jason, and Kathy had suggested that we contact Greg Steen. There was a nurse that that was part of his network who could help us negotiate this procedure to try to apply for veterans aid and attendance. It is quite a bureaucratic journey, and we weren't sure how to negotiate it, so we really needed help. I called to the office and talked to Greg at length, and long story short, we ended up with a meeting with all four of us, my husband and I and his stepdad and mom. And we sat down and he presented what he could do for us in terms of applying for that. And it was kind of there were several stages in the process. But he had the network that we needed and was wonderful with his parents, very genial and didn't move too quickly in his explanations. And they really understood. His stepdad is 98. His mom is 88. So they're both in great shape for their age. They had always lived independently. So this would have been a big step. And that's basically how we got to Greg.
Well, it's interesting. We were sitting there in the front room, and we had never heard them say anything about this before. And we had actually talked about it between ourselves. We really need to start thinking about what we're going to do when they get to a certain age and are going to need this. And as soon as JC said that, we thought, there's the crack in the door. There's the opening. And I asked him at the time, I said, if you're serious, we're going to pursue this. And so, you better be serious about this. And he was. And so we said, okay, here we go. And we just got right on it. And then Kathy explained earlier what the process we went through to get to Greg. And it was serendipitous that we, got connected with him. But, just like anything else, it's making the contacts who you know, and they lead you to the next person and the next person and the next person, and eventually it, hopefully works out.
One of the things that is the most valuable with senior care advocates is the way that Greg, I feel, has taken a very personal response to our situation. And I know he probably does the same thing with all of his clients. I feel that there's a degree of commitment from him and ease. He is a comforting presence. That's how I'll put it. For my in-laws, the very first time that we met them, that they met with Greg, I think your mother just completely relaxed.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
She was just all the steps that would happen. And he didn't give them all the steps right off the bat. He gave it to them in pieces so they could understand as it was developing. Now, this is the next thing that we'll need to do. et cetera, et cetera. And I think that very measured approach, he has kind of a measured way of even talking. And that comforting presence, you could just see my mother-in-law just start relaxing.
Mm-hmm.
JC was the first person who had said, we'd like to look into maybe an assisted care situation, because he felt badly for Dottie, his wife. He wanted to take some of the burden away from her. That's what this is all about.
Mm-hmm.
Family members, caring for each other, trying to ease the burden. That's why he had pursued this in the first place. Dottie had her feet in concrete. She wasn't going to go anywhere. And because of that, and I think it even surprised her when JC brought it up. I don't think they talked about it before. And so she was the one that I kind of felt would be needing that reassurance.
Mm-hmm.
And they even prayed together after we left, which I didn't hear about until later. They're very strong Christians, both of them. And it meant a lot to them that Greg prayed with them. She called you about that, I think. Said it was amazing how it just made her heart just at ease. So that kind of thing, which I'm not sure all services would be like that, where it was such a personal connection, it was a bonding, and it was a measured approach, very gentle.